Welcome to the Neckbeard Experience, Spooky Edition. I got a few neckbeards here that deals with costume and cringe. So without further delay, let's get started. This is the tale about a neckbeard in the one place that I love. Recently, I've been able to go out on my own, and I really love going to the Halloween store. It comes to town every year. Now I can go by myself, and I also dress very gothic, or pastel, whatever. I go out that way, and most people avoid me. But this time, a neckbeard decided to follow me. So, I go into a store, and I saw some dude dressed in the typical neckbeard gear, with a fedora and everything, also donning an anime t-shirt. He was looking at the clown display, and I went for the Day of the Dead section. I wasn't paying much attention, so I got out my sketch pad, and I started drawing outfits. Then my nose starts burning. He was right behind me, and it startled me. He was looking at the trench coats on the display right behind me. I glanced back, and he's looking at me. I quickly close my book and walk away, thinking social distancing because the display was super close. And I was almost touching him, so I needed to go somewhere else. I went to where the astronaut things were, since I was finishing my Among Us cosplay, which I needed a suit anyway, and out of the corner of my eye, I see him again. He has his mask below his nose, and he's breathing heavy. I'm looking at him on accident, and he came up close.
Hey.
Hi? I'm like 5'2". And this dude, he towered over me like a Shrek in real life.
So, what are you doing? What are you looking for?
I'm just browsing for other things so that I can put it on my costume.
Well, I don't think you'll find anything here suitable. I'm assuming that you're gonna be going as some sexy succubus?
I cringe, and I tell him no, and I walk away. And he called after me, so I went to the back of the store.
Don't ignore me. I'm only being polite to you. You're such a cute little Lolita that I just wanted to talk.
Dude, no, I am a guy. I just dress like this sometimes. And what you said is really creepy.
You aren't a boy. You're lying.
No, I'm not.
Then prove it.
What the actual No, you weirdo. I'm a guy, and I'm not interested in talking to you. He scrunched up his face and reached out to grab me, but I slipped when I tried to get away. So I crawled in a hurry towards the back of the store. I can hear him huff and puff behind me, and I'm hoping beyond hope that there's an employee. Just my luck. There wasn't one. But there's more places to hide, and to get away at least. I ended up trying to stay at the edge and move up to the front, and this guy kinda popped out of nowhere.
Why are you running? I'm just trying to speak to you. You're being so dramatic.
There's some dude near me, and he saw that I was in danger, and he stepped up in front of me. What the hell, man? Leave him alone.
Oh, sorry, sir. Me and my girlfriend are in just a bit of a scuffle, so please move.
I don't know you, I yelled, and grabbed one of the fake scythe thingies, and I swung it at him with the instinct to protect myself. It didn't do too much, but it still hooked around his fat, stupid neck, and I pulled super hard. I'm small, but I have a lot of strength, usually for my job, moving heavy stuff all the time. I ran to the front of the store, and I called the cops. He did run out of the store, and he had pulled down his mask like an idiot, and they got him. Oh, I hate dressing up when I go out now. Halloween parties are a staple of my little town. Unfortunately, so are neckbeards. This is a story of a Halloween party where the scariest thing that happened wasn't the decorations or the costumes. It was the Bronies. As a side note, if you like My Little Pony, that's completely fine. Do your thing. But don't be these guys. I'm begging you.
Release the cringe.
Characters, me. Which is me. Spooky, that's my girl. Brony 1 and Brony 2. As you're probably aware of, if you've read my other stories, Spooky is a neckbeard bait. Plain and simple. She's short, curvy, nerdy, and goth. Not only that, she's as feisty as a sleep-deprived Wolverine. Another thing is, we weren't actually dating in a traditional sense, although we both agreed that we basically were. We didn't sleep around or flirt with other people. Quite frankly, we didn't want anyone else but each other. Now, before I say it, no, I am not trying to write a romance novel. I'm going to clarify that, and we didn't flirt around because it is relevant. The night of Halloween Eve of our senior year of high school, Spooky and I decided to go to the community Halloween party, which is thrown at the city hall. Yeah, it was probably going to be lame, but the flyers said free food, prizes, costumes, and candy galore. Spooky and I, being as Halloween obsessed as we are, we couldn't resist. We felt like the coolest things ever since a personal pan pizza, strutting up the city hall stairs, dressed like the Joker, my favorite villain, and Harley Quinn, which I'm pretty sure Spooky only agreed to so that she could wear a leather gesture bodysuit, which I wasn't complaining about at all. I also want to clarify, this was before Suicide Squad came out, and the Joker, so the Harley costume wasn't quite oversaturated yet. Well, the party wasn't nearly as lame as we thought. There were amazing haunted house decorations, and effects like fog, strobe lights, and creepy audio. There were tables lined up with delicious looking food, candy, and everyone looked like they were having a grand old time, and so were we. But naturally, an adorable goth girl dressed up like Harley Quinn in a skin-tight leather suit will draw out the neckbeard, like crap draws flies. We saw these two specimens inching closer and closer to us. As we were gazing at the food table, I was stuffing my face with the mozzarella sticks, as many as I could conceivably fit in my mouth, while Spooky was telling me that I couldn't fit anymore. Challenge accepted. That's when we heard the sleaziest voice I've ever heard.
Wow, your tits look fantastic in that suit, my lady.
I bet you they look better out of that suit, don't they?
Followed by a burst of nasally laughter. These two weren't even in costume. At least I don't think they were. Both of them were massively overweight. They were unwashed. One of them was wearing a My Little Pony fedora, and the other one had a pink shirt on that said "Friendship is Magic" bedazzled across it with a black trench coat. My mouth was still stuffed with cheese, so the only thing I could do was sputter indignantly. But Spooky, on the other hand, she responded.
Yeah, my tits look great. That's why I'm wearing this shirt. You two should know all about tits, seeing yours are bigger than mine.
I nearly choked on the cheese laughing. Unfortunately, the two Bronies didn't seem to think it was funny.
That's quite a mouth on you, slut. Maybe I should fill it with something.
Oh, I'm sorry, are you referring to your dick? Because I really don't have time for excavation at the moment, provided it's still under all them rolls.
I bet you're a sub in bed. I could tie you up if you want. Maybe whip you?
But you can't even tie your own shoes.
I was crying at this point, as I was laughing so hard, regardless of all the sleazy, borderline rapist stuff that they were saying. Spooky was right there with the comebacks, and making them increasingly angrier and angrier. I stepped in once I saw one of them begin to walk forward, and he wanted to touch Spooky, and I've got strong rules for that stuff. Stand down, Jiggles. You're outclassed here. Get over it.
Who asked you? What are you? Her boyfriend? You're not worth my time. I'm trying to have words with the lady.
You had your words, and they were pretty underwhelming. Just piss off. Spooky was flipping them off at this point, with a huge smile on her face. The brony spat at us before shuffling away, glancing back and scowling. Spooky and I had ourselves a laugh before continuing with the festivities. Another couple of hours passed, and eventually Spooky and I separated briefly, so I can go to the men's room. I was zipping up when, out of the corner of my eye, I saw the looming shape of Brony number 1, and I died a little inside. He was glaring at me, overtly blocking the exit. What's up, Jiggles? Need something?
I just need to keep you busy for a minute while my friend does his magic.
What?
Your little whore is going to see what a real man is like by the end of the night.
Oh my god, you two are seriously too stupid for words. Did you think you wowed her when you said she had great tits? And then when you threatened to rape her? Get you gelatinous twat waffle.
You know we go to the same school, right? Your bitch has quite a reputation. Like she's super easy.
Oh yeah? 'Cause I'm gonna believe someone with the social skills of a public urinal? And you're about as clean as one, so I guess that makes sense.
Talk shit all you want, but I bet my buddy's cock is balls deep in that little...
My foot connected with his balls before he could finish the sentence. As he was going down, I leapfrogged over him and immediately went looking for Spooky. It didn't take me too long. There was a small crowd gathering. People were mumbling and chattering as Brony number 2 was being led away in handcuffs by one of the security guards. A panicked feeling welled up in me, and I shoved my way through, just to see Spooky sitting on the floor, mascara running from tears. A female guard and a couple of other people were comforting her. When she saw me, she practically jumped on top of me, hugging me tightly.
Where were you? I was getting worried.
Never mind that. What the happened? Did he touch you? Are you hurt? Spooky explained that not long after I left, Brony 2 approached her and was apologizing profusely, trying to get Spooky to let her guard down. Spooky told him to go away. When she turned to leave, Brony number 2 grabbed her, slapped her across the face, and was trying to shove his tongue down her throat. A few other people saw this, and some immediately jumped him, tearing him off of her and kicking the holy crap out of him. They did this until security arrived. Spooky was sobbing into my chest. I just held her. The feelings of anger and guilt were fighting for dominance inside of me. Brony 1 and Brony 2 were arrested after the actual cops arrived. Spooky was asked to come make a statement. I called her parents and asked them to meet us there. That was after I explained the situation. My heart was breaking for Spooky. She spent the entire time clinging to my arm, like I would disappear if she let go. A few hours later, we were at Spooky's house. Her parents were letting me sleep over, given the circumstances, and I spent the whole night holding her. For as strong as Spooky is, there's only so much someone can stand, and being physically assaulted was something that took Spooky a while to get over. But as I write this, Spooky is currently passed out in an armchair after finishing a marathon of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies for the 10,000th time, and for all intents and purposes, she's the same Spooky that she's always been, and always will be. In honor of Halloween coming up, I bring you a story of a haunted hayride. It's gotten a million times spookier, especially when you have to deal with Beardula. Prepare for the spookiness, or cringe, mostly cringe. There's me, and Spooky again, and my friend SJ, and you guessed it, Beardula. It was the fall of our graduation year. Spooky, SJ, and I were reveling in the newfound freedom from the shackles of state-mandated testing, 6 a.m. alarms, and wasting 8 hours trapped in a building against our will, as our edgy teenage brains saw it at last. Over the summer, despite a few weird stories, which I'll get to in time, we find ourselves bored after the first month as we usually were. The three of us were looking for auditionees for the Ghostbuster logo, which meant we didn't really care too much about the sun. And aside from once in a while taking refuge in the local community swimming pool, we preferred indoor activities. That is until fall. Fall. On the complete opposite end of the love affair of outdoors, it was a perfect environment for us three. Not too hot, not too cold, and lots of gorgeous scenery. And not to mention, mine and Spooky's favorite time of year, Halloween. As her name implies, Spooky is an avid fan of anything creepy, ominous, slasherific, fun. Since I was an avid fan of Spooky, I quickly found out that I was a lover of all things that went bump in the night too. In the weeks leading up to Hallows Eve, my friends and I have a very cherished tradition, which I'm happy to say is coming back this year. We would binge watch every horror movie known to man, be it Disney, Old Legend of Sleepy Hollow, to Tim Burton's Legend of Sleepy Hollow, including 1930s Universal monster movies. You name it, we watched it, while gorging ourselves on all things ooey gooey goodness. We were getting stupid drunk too, which made it even better. That particular year, our little town was putting on a fear fest with a haunted house, a terrifying hayride through a haunted corn maze, a pumpkin carving competition, and of course, a costume competition, which Spooky was understandably ecstatic for, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't too. SJ wasn't much of a lover of Halloween, as Spooky and I are, but he did love it well enough for us to drag him along. Spooky decided to go classic horror movie for her costume, casting me as the role of Dracula, which I owned, if you ask me. She decided to go gender swap version of the Fanged Fiend with her own style. Kinda think Morticia Addams meets punk rocker. And SJ, he decided to be the Wolfman. On a side note, I wish I had pictures of the costume he made. It was seriously impressive. On the day of the fest, we three creatures of nefarious intent walked the town in search of mortals on whom we could feed on. Or fried pickles. Either one would have suited us fine. And we were having a fantastic time. Until he showed up. That is, Beardula. It's no secret that Spooky and I were usually all over each other. Not in a strictly sexual way, let me clarify. But some form of touching, hugging, punching, tickling, poking, prodding, as we're usually seen doing. And this night was certainly no different. In fact, I dare say we were even more obnoxious about it, since it was Halloween. We were both vampires, and we loved every blood-sucking minute of it. And apparently, another Dracula took issue with this. Beardula. Excuse me! That is no way! For one of such beauty should behave! We turned from our canoodling to see perhaps the most generic-looking Dracula that you can ever imagine. You know the Party City commercials with the cheap vampire costume? Yeah, that was basically him. His hair was slicked back, with, I'm guessing, industrial barrels worth of gel, push-on fangs, a red cape, and a plain white button-up and black pants. Beg your pardon? A vampire must always use discretion when seducing his bride. Good evening, my beauty. Bid you well. I give him credit. This dude was committed to his bit, even kissing Spooky's hand and bowing. At first, Spooky and I were into it. Yeah, you know, whatever. It's Halloween. Why not let the guy let loose a little and let him be Dracula the best he can? That was until he bit Spooky's neck. Like hard. It happened so fast. I barely had time to react. But before he let go of her hand, he yanked her close to him and clamped his dollar store fangs right down on her neck. Spooky yelped in pain and surprise. SJ and I, we lunged at him. We pried the creep off of her and threw him to the pavement.
What the f*** are you doing? Are you an idiot?
I was understandably extremely upset, yelling every obscenity that I could come up with on the spot, all directed at this guy, while Spooky and SJ held me back. Beardula just sat on the ground, looking at us in a state of bewilderment.
What's your problem? I was just f***ing around. Lighten up. Damn.
You bit her neck, you freak! What do you mean, what's the problem? Just get out of here, you a**hole, before I call the cops!
Beardula shrugged, and he sauntered off, and he went through the gathering crowd of gawkers. Spooky looked at me and smiled.
It's alright, Jay. Just calm down, I'm okay.
But what?
Hey, I let you bite my neck all the time. What's another chomp among fellow vamps?
Spooky stuck out her tongue at me and winked at me before strutting away, leaving me looking at her smiling. No matter what, she never fails to remind me why I love her. And at the time of writing this, Spooky and I are reminiscing about old times, and we remembered this little gem. Thank you so much for joining me for this spooky edition of the Neckbeard Experience. Last week I didn't really get much work done. Actually, I didn't get any work done because of the surgery, so I'm really doing this almost like the day of when I put it out. I usually like being a week in advance. Since I'm not working on next week's, since I wanted this to be a special edition for this time of year for you guys, next week I'm gonna be incognito. I'm gonna be trying to catch up. I might try to put out at least one video. It might be the cursed comments that I've got. I haven't recorded it yet. Hopefully I have time to do it before next week. Thank you all very much for joining me. I also want to give a special thanks to my patrons. Your help is greatly appreciated. It helps me to afford to do my hobby, which I do greatly enjoy, and I hope you guys do too. If you want to become a patron, I've got a link in the description. Well, you all have a nice spooky weekend, and until next time, this is Dallas, signing off.